Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Michaela Peters. I'm actually doing this pretty early in the morning today, which is abnormal. I guess I just got really excited when I checked my analytics page for YouTube today because, again, I still cannot understand where this unprecedented growth on my YouTube channel is coming from. I don't know if it's like because I tapped into the Finnish algorithm and then the Russian one is getting even stronger. I have no idea what's going on. Right now my dog is behind me, still laying in bed, and he hasn't gotten up to go to the bathroom yet. So, yeah, and I don't know when that's going to happen, so I may have a little bit of chop in the middle of this video. Okay, so I had a really interesting comment on the video that I made, which, again, was not very interesting or relevant to a lot of people, which was getting into NASA as a US citizen, which is not really my target audience. Yeah, because it's mostly Russian people, Russian-speaking people, and Finnish people, so yeah, I actually made that video specifically for one person because somebody's like, my son is applying to work at NASA. Do you have any pointers for him? And I'm like, I was meaning to make a video about this, so here it is. But anyway, I knew that video was not going to catch that much. But today I want to talk about like Finnish versus US finances, and I'm going to be speaking a little bit in a way that, like, don't quote me on this sort of thing because I'm going to tell you based on my limited understanding, which I did have a job in Finland. However, I had a non-professional job, as in I had a job as basically an intern, like a master's thesis student worker thing, and not the same, right? So it's a little bit like apples to oranges here with what I'm going to talk about. But the one comment, because I was speaking very loosely in the video of, I don't want to come in starting at 60K, and in Finland you're like, whoa, that's fine. Well, I think the thing that, I hear a lot from, okay, I do talk to a lot of people and people tell me things, so I'm going to speak more to that than my own personal experience, even though I will speak to my personal experience a little bit as well. Okay, the dog wants to go out, so I'll be back in a moment. Okay, so we're back. The dog went out. He has his little puppy sweatshirt on. It's so cute. Oh my gosh. I can't handle it. Okay. Anyway, so I started thinking more about this while I was letting him out, trying to think of what direction to go into. Okay, so I'm gonna just like spit out some things that Finnish people have told me about working in Finland. Actually, I'm gonna start with this. So I have a friend from Los Angeles, like a family friend, so she's a bit older than me, and I'm pretty sure she's pretty successful in her career and all that. Good for her. Shout out. I mean, you need to be to live in LA. It is a place that is notoriously way more expensive than New Jersey. I think I've mentioned this. Like, you want to talk about expensive places to live? New Jersey compared to like California. Oh my gosh, California is like the worst. Really. You can look up these maps if I remember, which I probably won't. I could drop one in here if I could find one. But they tell you like what kind of salary you need to be able to like live comfortably or even just like survive in all these different major cities. And I think like San Francisco is super crazy. Probably at this point Seattle is too, like definitely six-figure salaries. And it's probably because of like the tech bubble thing there going on, like Silicon Valley, all that, because those people notoriously have high salaries, so makes sense because you're kind of like comparing against those, and then supply and demand, and then driving up the demand and all that. I don't know, he's not really calm right now. He slept good. Okay, so this friend from LA is like, somebody in Finland told me their annual salary is 45,000. Is that good? First off, let's cover a couple of things. The euro has been outpacing the dollar for a long time. The only time in my history of euro-dollar exchange rates where the US was actually pulling ahead with the dollar was back in when I went to Switzerland, which was cool because it made things in Switzerland cheaper because Switzerland's very expensive. And I think it was like a 1-98 situation, like one, oh gosh, what is it? So like right now, actually it's pretty low. I should transfer some money. Right now it's like about $1.05 or 6 on the euro, and before it was like 98 to 1, and yeah, so the dollar was pulling ahead with that. But that was back in October 2022. This is now more than 2 years later, and I have not seen that. Okay, so usually it is more expensive to use the euro for Americans, for people with USD by like 5 to 10%. That's why I'm gonna be really honest. I don't love when people give me dollars because I already have a lot of dollars. I mean, I will tolerate it. I don't appreciate it though. It's the best way I can put it. Okay. So yeah, she's like, he's making 45,000. So again, 45,000 euros is going to be, I don't know, let's say $50,000. I am not the best at mental math. So again, don't quote me on this, but all right, so let's start with that. The other thing that, again, talking to Finnish people, is you start to realize there's somewhere around this like 3,000 euro a month cap that the government starts taking away so much from you in terms of taxes that sometimes it doesn't even make sense to get a higher paying job because you're not actually going to get paid more, like gross what you take home. I have no idea how that works for benefits, so actually if you're a Finnish person watching this, you can comment on this and tell me, because this is what I'm going to get to next. While it sounds very nice and fancy, saying, haha, I live in the US and I have a 6-figure salary, the issue with this is how much of your salary is take home, because the thing that, the government does all the fun stuff for you in Finland, like it gives you health insurance, which is included, and gives you what's the other one? Like a pension sort of retirement thing, and you don't have to figure out any of that. No. Don't, not so fast. Yeah, that's the expression I'm looking for. That's not how that works in America, which is both a blessing and a curse, because on one hand, you have complete and utter control over like where all your money goes. It's not like, oh, the government decides, right? But on the other hand, it kind of sucks because you take home like nothing. So, all right, like I had to sign up for health insurance this year, and I went for a pretty expensive one, not gonna lie, and which is funny because all my coworkers are like, oh, just go for like the cheap one because you don't use your health insurance. I'm like, yes I do, because I think I talk somewhat openly about, I have like some psychiatric stuff going on, which I do attend to because I believe in my mental health after living in Finland, so I do go see the mental health people, and that does cost money. So I'm like, no, I use my health insurance. Like, and okay, so health insurance is one thing. Retirement is another thing. But yeah, my health insurance this year, I think I dropped like 7K on. And that comes from your income. Okay, so like while it sounds very fancy, 100K per year, and it's like breaks down to what, like 6,000 or 7,000 a month or something like that. Like, no, you don't take that home. I think when I calculated like whatever my gross was, it was something like under 50,000. Okay, so it's sort of like if the person in Finland making 45,000 is actually taking home that 45,000, cool, because I'm going to tell you that the person with 100K in the US is not taking home 100K. And yes, taxes, blah, 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 but like my understanding is with good jobs in Finland, you are taking home 3K, and again, correct me on whether that's correct or not. This is very similar, actually, to the tax thing. When you walk into a grocery store in Finland, what you see on the shelf is what you are paying for when you check out. That's not how that works in America. What you see on the shelf is not what you pay when you walk out. It is that plus a bunch of random taxes on top. So, again, these are kind of the differences that people don't really consider. So while it sounds very, again, nice and fancy that I can make more money in the US, it's like, but at what cost? To give another example right now, I'm pretty seriously, okay, I'm not even going to say seriously, I'm definitely moving out pretty soon. And this is really like not a great situation either, because according to all the financial gurus who I watch on YouTube, you are not supposed to spend, and this is actually just like a duh kind of thing. I think I've known this since 2016. You are not supposed to spend more than 30% of your income on housing. So I really shouldn't be spending more than like 1,000 and some change, okay? But I am going to be spending 2,000 and maybe some change. I'm trying to decide, because I'm either going to rent somewhere for 2,000 because that is what it goes for around here, and I'm not quite ready to like leave my family. My mom's entire Italian family lives in New Jersey because it's like such a New Jersey thing. I couldn't even explain to you how New Jersey that is. And, I'm just not ready. Okay. But I'm ready to move out because there's nothing like living with people who definitely want you to move out to make you lose sleep. And I decided I just don't feel like dealing with that anymore. Okay. And the other thing is I'm looking pretty seriously at trying to buy something, which is like just within my price range, but is going to financially bankrupt me, essentially. So pretty soon I'm going to be migratory Michaela minus the migratory, because I'm going to be rocking my house poor self, staying in my house, appreciating, putting away all my life savings into something that I hope one day will be worth something more. I'm trying to buy, it's not even a house, it's an apartment that I can afford in a super, what's going to be gentrified area. It already is getting super gentrified, like this area close to where I grew up in. And I look at prices of everything around there, and it's like 1,700,000, and I'm like, all right, so I know that this building itself is not worth money, but it's the location. I'm super into the location game with real estate, so yeah, there's that. So I'm looking at something for like under 350,000, but that was like my range. In Finland, actually, I do look at real estate a lot in Finland, and yeah, that would be like capital region situation. I'm not in a major city, like, let's be clear on that. So, although this area is getting super bought up by all the Jewish people coming down from New York, don't know why. If anybody knows why, let me know. My theory is it has to do with everybody's afraid of a second COVID, and they're like, I don't want to be trapped in New York City when there's a second COVID, so let me just go to my house in New Jersey that I already bought. So maybe that's what's going on. Okay, so yeah, I mean, paying $2,000 a month in rent, like anywhere else, sounds crazy. Like, I remember in Finland, I was paying $252 as a student. Studios where, like in Lappeenranta, go for what, $500 to $700. Like, anything above $1,000 already sounds super crazy. Like, I think Italy was one of the more expensive places I heard of, and maybe it was like 800 to 1,000 euros was what people were paying. And yeah, so anything like, let's just casually double that, it's like, what? And it's like, I don't even care if your salary is higher. It is still more than, what like a lot of people are making. So, I don't know. Like, it is the situation. I think I'm a very anxious and patient person. I'm not gonna like deny that. A blessing and a curse kind of thing too, because it means that I've always said I will always get what I want, because I'm willing to like sacrifice a lot for what I want, including my sanity. But like, yeah, my mom told me this the other day. She's like, whatever you want to do, you set your mind to it and you just do it. Like, I remember when I was trying to get into NASA and people were like, you can't do that. And I was like, okay. And then I just did it anyway. Like, it's fine. So if I want to buy something expensive in an economy where people my age can't own anything, watch me. I'm just gonna stop eating out or doing anything fun ever again, because to me the sacrifice is worth what I want. And I've like always been like that. I used to like sacrifice like going to parties or doing social things because I wanted a certain GPA, because I wanted more money from the university. Like, it's just like how I am. And I had a 2-year sabbatical from this lifestyle when I was in Finland, and I was just like, I don't know, chilling. And like, honestly, I feel like I had more mental problems during that time, so I'm just like not sure I want to go back to abandoning my goals. They made me feel good about myself, which, if you want to know more about that, you can look at my video about why high achievers have low self-worth, because you don't need to validate yourself through achievements if you already feel good about yourself. But yeah, I don't know. I think owning property just makes me feel like powerful in some way, which is one of the things that people apparently chase. And this goes back to the she's so masculine, and it's like, well, yes, I do have many people offering me relationship. I don't have many people offering me a house, which is the real thing I want. So no, I mean, whatever. I don't use this platform to find people, but ugh, okay. Yeah, there's a lot of that. So, again, like, I'm going to be clear on that. Like, I do not use this platform to try to date people. Okay, like, yes, because I need to announce that on the Russian side, because that's honestly where it gets pretty bad. Apparently, this is just a normal thing that happens to like female influencers, because right, because it's a very curated sense of like who you are, even though I'm try to be pretty genuine and transparent. There are obviously a lot of things about my life I cannot tell you on here because of safety, and it's just not appropriate. So yeah, obviously. Okay. But yes, getting very ranty again as usual. But so anyway, what the whole point of what I'm trying to get out of here is, it's very difficult to like sit around and compare like Finnish incomes to American incomes. I'm going to give you another example. Childcare, right? In the country where people like don't really want to have kids, Finland, yeah. I was looking it up, and it's like the most expensive childcare would be 311 euros a month. And that's like if you earn the most amount of money. However, in the US, one kid is like, and I think that could be multiple kids or something like that. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the US, it's like $1,000 per kid. So let's go back to the idea that I should not be spending more than $1,000 and some change on housing, but then I'm going to go spend another $1,000 on childcare. I mean, ideally, you're having the income of two people, so it's looking a little bit different at this point. But I'm just trying to explain that things like this, right? So if you're the person, if you're the person who is earning 3,000 euros a month, and your childcare is 311 euros a month, and that is like 1/10 of your income, and that's going towards childcare. That's not the same as like 1/3 or 1/4 of your income in the US. So these are the things that just like don't make sense about living in the US. And this is again why a lot of women like just don't have careers, and we gear ourselves more towards a bit of a traditional society, because it's like it does not make financial sense in so many ways that you slice it for women to be in the workforce when affordable childcare like does not exist. So again, it's just like it's a very apples to oranges discussion, because all of the random expenses that you have in the US, and like let's also not forget all the things about like I don't have to have a car in Finland. I can still get around pretty easily without a car. That saves me a lot of money. Here I have to have a car. I have to have car insurance. If my car's not paid off, which thank God it is, then I have a car payment. And let's talk about phone bills. The average phone bill in the US is like $50. In Finland, it's like $20 a month. It's like all these little things that like you don't realize. I'd say food is kind of equitable. I'm not gonna lie on that one. Although then again, I explained the tax thing with the grocery store. Like what you see is what you get. It's not how it works in the US. And each state has its own taxes, and they have taxes on different things, and then we have property taxes also. Yeah, how do property taxes work in Finland? Interesting. Okay, so apartments in Finland, I don't think you pay property taxes on. I only know about that because that's all I'm allowed to own in Finland. I don't know about owning land because I'm barred from that until I get citizenship. But doesn't matter. In the US, like I'm looking at this apartment, like I would have to pay property taxes, and those go up every year, and they'd be like, I don't know, like $3,000 a year at this point for like what I'm looking at, maybe even more. I don't remember. So it's just like, I guess the best way I can explain it is in the US, there are so many hidden costs that like this idea of things like sounding really good, it's like not. It's like I joke that it's like monopoly money because things are so expensive. Like I should show an example of like one of my health insurance things because it will show you. That's not it. The statement of benefits thing. It's super crazy. I'm just gonna try to show like, hopefully there's nothing sensitive on here. Total amount billed versus total amount paid by plan versus financial responsibility, which luckily I did not get the bill for this yet. But like, this is what gets billed through health insurance, like $5,000, and then my insurance picks up some of it, and then I'm supposed to pick up some of it. Like, look at this amount of money, okay? And I get these all the time. I mean, I don't know. Then it goes through insurance, and the thing is, Americans don't even understand how this works. All you know is everything's expensive, and you can never afford anything, and it's like stupid. And people come here for what? Like, and maybe that's like also part of why I feel like so passionate about having this channel, because like I want people to understand that life here is not that great. However, I did not immigrate here, right? And I know that there are some people. Like, I've had friends whose parents were immigrants, and they think that this is, like, the best country in the entire world, and they have no interest in living anywhere else. Strong disagree. I think that Europe is a lot more balanced in terms of, like, work-life balance, like, family values, which is ironic considering they're more progressive in some ways, but whatever. And, here it's just, yes, it's capitalism, it's work, it's all that. So, yeah, you have this crazy health insurance, you have crazy, let's say, childcare, you have crazy retirement stuff, you have crazy living costs, housing costs, and it's just like, I just don't really see why this is appealing to people. And then it's also like, well, why am I still here? I ask myself that a lot, and as I joked, I'm like the biggest exporter of the US dollar, but really I was trying to like mini get ahead and like try to save up some money and then go back to Finland and then just have that. That has not been working, and now that I'm having this whole housing thing, it's extra not working. But I'll be very honest in admitting that I've had a dream of owning at least one piece of property in the US and one piece of property in Finland, and this would put me, on track to that. Why? Because I think a house in the US is good equity. I know I should like be more interested in financial instruments. However, I feel very strongly about the fact that I like to own a house. It's a tangible asset, and there's just something like I really like about that, which is a very natural human emotion to like want to own things. So yeah. But I think it's just like in Finland, there's a lot of equity, and you're not really worried that like people are screwed over and can't like fend for themselves. In the US, it's like the struggle is real, and it's like, you know, people can work like 3 minimum wage jobs and still not be able to put food on the table, and then they're in a bunch of debt and they have no choice. And it's just like, it's sad. This is like one of the things I just like, I'm like, I hate watching this. And it's like, and then I thought like, oh, you know, I'm college educated, it's going to be easier for me. Like, it's still not easy for anybody. And it's like a super big reality check, and I feel like I'm still even a little bit sheltered from it. But I don't know, like it's rough out here. That's all I have to say. And right, so I was saying about like these people who immigrate. It's like I know people have come here, their families have come here, they've made sacrifices, and it's like I get it, because right now I'm speaking more to like Finland versus the US, right? I'm not speaking to like the US versus Russia, or which is considered second world, I think, or like a third world developing country where, you know, like the economy sucks so much that you've got other problems to worry about. Like, I get that if you work hard, you know, you work your butt off, you can really like achieve something here. I get that. I totally get that. And I understand why people come here and they think it's better than what they had. And I think it's natural that humans are always trying to get the best that they can. I guess what I'm trying to say is like, you know, there's a reason why there's sort of a stigma for like, oh, Americans are, well, people, it's both. People are like, Americans are rich. But then I had one Finnish person be like, no, I know Americans are poor. And I'm like, you're very smart. So yeah, like, I don't think that, you know, most Americans are rich by any means. I think that if you make it, you can make it big here, right? But like, again, that's not most people. It's not going to be me. That's not going to be you, probably. And if it is you, I'd be curious to understand why you're watching my channel. You can let me know. No. But, yeah, you should be watching the other bigger YouTubers. But yeah, it's like I get it, because people are like, you can like, once you actually start like achieving things, you feel like, oh, like, you know, I can afford this and that, and like that's cool, and I get that. And like, again, it's like a lot of the travel I've been able to do, like, let's not forget that that has to do with the fact that yes, I have like a degree of privilege, I'm from a first world country, and my money is going to go further in a lot of these other cheaper countries that I travel around most of the time. So I totally get that. And also, traveling around Europe is very accessible because of cheap flights and Ryanair. Yeah. So it's just, again, very hard to compare, because there are just like too many extraneous factors. And I feel like the only way you could really completely know and be able to speak to this is if you're the kind of person who has worked in both places. Yeah, like I remember when I had my little master's thesis job, I was making like 1,100 per month. Which to me, I was like, man, I was like, I go work a shift at the restaurant, I make like $200. I'm like, ugh, this sucks. But I just wanted the experience, and honestly, it was pretty low key, and it didn't really matter. Like, where I was, I could do my job from anywhere, and, you know, I was just happy I was getting paid to do my thesis, and yeah, so like, I appreciate it, but I was also just like, when I think about the fact that I have to show up to a office most days, and it's like I'm getting paid like $7 an hour, like I was not happy about that. Okay, because I think minimum wage in New Jersey now is like $15 an hour, but they still take taxes, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay, so again, this is very ranty, but I was trying to cover all the bases, and basically it's just this big discombobulated mess of it's complicated, and unless you were to work in the US, it would be really hard to know how much harder or easier it is. And even if you are a working professional, you know, I'm only in my first year, like, I'm really on the struggle bus, so it's gonna have to keep advancing from here. But thank you to my loyal fans who are helping me earn money through YouTube, even though it is very supplemental. There's no money at the restaurant this time of year, so we really need a side gig, and I'm glad that I'm able, for your viewing pleasure, to make these videos. I also wonder if it's like hibernation season and people are just inside watching YouTube videos, and maybe it's a seasonality component for why my views and subscribers are going up. Could be. But yeah, so if you want to hear more from me in a very ranty style, don't forget to like and subscribe. But like, actually, like, that would be helpful, so thank you. That's how you can support my channel. But other than that, until my next video, I have to think of another topic. I usually just wait until I see something inspirational in the comments, like I did with this video. Yeah, that's what I do. Okay, so that's everything then until tomorrow, and I'm going to look at the apartment on Wednesday, so I probably will not record Wednesday, and then I'm probably going to be off for about a week because moving around, traveling stuff, yay. Which again, I will soon stop doing because of housing. Yes. Okay, so until then, bye.